What's all that dark space back there? That's where you don't go. Oh, shit. Lights are on. Yeah. You made me say. That is the Badlands, Simba. We do not go there. Whatever. Oh. That is the backyard. That is the upper backyard.
Yeah, no.
Did I derail you with that?
Well, I'm scared of it, of the upper backyard. I haven't even scratched the surface of the pain in the ass that is in the lower backyard. I'm talking about Grounded, the video game, for context. I'm playing it.
Tommy's grounded.
And
he's been a bad kid, so I grounded him.
It's really fun.
Really it looks good. Really fun.
I'm looking for some peoples. And the fact that you can jump it from single player to multiplayer.
Just like that.
Just like that.
So then I could jump into your world, you could jump into my world. Yeah. You bring in your resources or just whatever's on body.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know about that yet. I don't know
how that works.
Leveling and everything works.
I mean, how did it work with, what was that Switch game that everybody got super into during the pandemic?
Animal Crossing?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Like, was there I thought you played it a little bit.
No, I mean, I just watched.
Oh, you didn't start your own island?
No, because at the time of that, you needed a whole nother console.
That's right.
They changed that, I think. But then they also, from what I understand, it was really weird to get people on your island and vice versa. I don't know if that made... I remember that being kind of weird to do.
Didn't someone just give everybody a bunch of fruit from their island or something?
Yeah, I think they traded in... tree blossoms, like cherry blossoms, to get different colors. Yeah, like pink and red.
I like cherry. It's getting close to cherry blossom season, isn't it?
Yeah, we're about there.
Yeah.
Another month or so.
But and then the tree in the courtyard will blossom.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for someone to play Grounded with,
I'm hopefully going to jump on soon. So.
Well, yeah, just like that's a cool idea too. I didn't even think about that you would have your world and I would have mine.
It's like a Minecraft server type thing. Yeah. Our own separate ones.
Yeah. And then we can make you it'll be like my little house. We can make you a little guest room in my little house. And then vice versa. And then we can help each other with bosses and stuff.
What's better?
Well, yeah. It's not even a boss.
Oh.
That's not even... I know of one and where one is, and I'm not doing it. Not going in there.
It makes you remind me of Elden Ring with the guy on the horse, where you're like, I can't get past the first boss. The guy with the horse, yeah, it's not a boss.
You don't have to do that. You don't? I was very surprised by that. All right, let's get this started.
Yeah.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Who is that? Who is the voice? Who is this voice? Can you hear it? Hello. And I need a name. I don't know. Does it sound like any character you know?
I mean, not off the top of my head.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone. This is TJ's Mixtape. I'm Tommy. That's Jacob.
Hey.
We're a movie review podcast. We're longtime friends that like movies, so we talk about them. Who made them, who's in them, some themes of it, and then give it a rating at the end. The rating is arbitrary, but it's a good end to the episode.
I hate to break it to you. I hate movies now.
Whoa. This would do it. 5 years of this will do that.
I can't watch another movie in my life. I quit.
So just if you didn't see, we'll start off. We are doing 2024's The Substance. But before we get into that, we're going to continue on with the movie game.
Connect the stars.
So if you're unfamiliar, we pick two people in the industry, actors, actresses, so on and so forth, and then find a connection of movies between them. So like the 7 Degrees of Separation with Kevin Bacon.
The XYZ of it. I don't know. That's the dot, right? That's
the 7 Degrees of Separation of Kevin Bacon, but with just random people. So the two we had were Rachel Weisz and Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Which, at first, you're like, this could be a hard one, until you realize that Rachel Weisz was in Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
And Keanu Reeves is in 3 movies with Winona Ryder.
Oh, Dracula.
There you go. One's kind of weirdly animated.
Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, there you go. And the other one...
Give me another hint.
It's a rom-com.
The Lake House?
No, that's Sandra Bullock.
That was the first Keanu. It's not even a rom-com. That's like a romantic drama.
Yeah.
It's just the first one. What is it?
Destination Wedding.
The fuck is that?
That
was the fastest I've ever sworn on this podcast. I think.
I watched it really drunk, but I have watched it. They're like frenemy. They're like they hate each other, but then they fall in love with each other.
2018.
Yeah, and
I would watch the shit out of
They
this.
go to a wedding. It's like like in friend's wedding, and I can't remember if they have a history or not, but they end up kind of like spending the entire time together in a like hateful.
Well, yeah, Frank and Lindsay meet at a wedding. They soon discover they have a lot in common. They both hate the bride, the groom, the wedding, themselves, and each other.
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
There's a really funny scene where they have awkward sex in the woods.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, at first I was thinking like, God, Rachel Weisz, there's got to be a quick one with Winona Ryder. And then I was sitting there. I'm like, Winona Ryder's in Dracula with Keanu Reeves. What Keanu Reeves, Rachel Weisz, what's Keanu Reeves done? And then Constantine popped. I was like, is that Rachel Weisz? And I had to like double check. And then I was like, wait, Scanner Darkly. This is like, there's multiple connections here.
Yeah, that's a first actually.
Yeah.
Though that we've noticed. There might have happened before. But yeah, so that's the game. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to, that wins. The idea is to get the smallest amount of connections possible. And
it's like the idea is to do that. But if you're having a hard time, you could just make a long connection. Good for you. It's fun.
It's fun. It's a fun. This is also just a fun game to play.
Because then your brain starts
car ride or whatever.
It might end up happening. Yeah, at work with like downtime with friends in the kitchen. But like one thing that I always end up kind of like finding myself do is like end up kind of how wrapping it back around. Like let's say I'm trying to connect. I'm doing Rachel Weisz. I somehow like connect a bunch of actors and then bring it back to Rachel Weisz on accident.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but it was the Adam Sandler one. I found myself hyperfixating on Jack Nicholson. And I was like, that's not the that's not the one. That's not the one. That's Adam Sandler. But yeah, so at the end of the episode, we'll pick 2 other people, and then we'll start the game over. But let's get into it.
The Substance!
We are doing The Substance.
It changed my life.
Did you like it?
I fucking loved this movie.
Really?
Yeah. I know my squeamishness didn't really seem that way, but no, this was my jam, 100%. It's because it's so absurd.
Yeah, not my jam.
Yeah,
I like body horror, but I didn't like this.
Well, I didn't
know it was body horror.
I didn't know it was going to be that kind of body horror.
Like I knew.
It's kind of Cronenbergish.
It's in the.
And even there's even moments where they talk about the inspiration from Cronenberg.
It's kind of in the name. I just didn't realize how much of an actual horror movie this was going to become.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot more of a psychological thriller.
Me too, which it is.
Yeah,
and then it's not.
It's a little bit of it all. It's sci-fi,
no, but at the end it goes really hard into the body horror.
Yeah.
But
it's a little sci-fi. It's a little psychological thriller. It's did I already say horror? Yeah, a little horror, psychological thriller, comedy,
dark comedy. Yeah,
dark comedy. Yeah,
pitch black comedy.
I wrote down it's satirical, it's absurdist, it's deconstructive. Like even just like little moments of like the thing she takes is The Substance. And then the talk show the talk show that she's on is called The Show.
Yeah.
It's like it's not in the realms of our reality, but built inside of the realms of our reality.
I guess that's fair too, because even then it's like they're in Los Angeles. They never actually, there's nothing that says they're in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's the incepted idea of Hollywood because the Hollywood
stars
square.
And
yep.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Does that kind of help?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I fucking love this movie.
It's kind of out of reality.
It gives us everything we need to know, and then sometimes it gives you a little bit too much, but without really telling you exactly what it is. You know what it is, but it's not 100% that. It gave me some like Mulholland Drive, David Lynch vibes. It gave me Requiem for a Dream. It gave me so many different like things, and I was just like movie guy. Sorry, I really liked it, guys.
Well, let's see if I have more of an appreciation for it at the end. But even with that, I did not particularly care for it. So we'll see if that changes in the hour that we have you, basically.
Yay.
So The Substance
Knock knock.
was released
Was that who I was doing? Sorry.
May 19th at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yes.
And then a wide release in UK and the US on September 20th. And then finally made it back to France November 6th,
Yeah.
2024.
So
So this is recent.
It's very recent. Yeah. Very, very recent.
Very recent.
Within the last 6 months.
Yes.
I didn't look at box office for it, but I knew it was kind of like middle of the ground, I feel.
It got for in-year domestically, it got to 73.
Okay. For this type of movie, pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
For how box offices work nowadays.
Yeah, the kind of crapshoot that is. Well, yeah, I mean, because even then it had a budget of 17.5 million,
Yeah.
which is pretty low considering.
A lot of that went into the prosthetic.
Yeah, but even just
Yeah.
just the way the movie looks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that 17 is pretty low price tag.
Very well shot.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Great costumes
Mm-hmm.
and set design. And then it ended up grossing 77 million.
Well, think about
So
that. With
they made,
all
like,
of
a
that,
really
it
good
was
amount of
also
money
very
back.
simple sets. Majority of this happens either on the dance studio or in her apartment.
Yeah, no, but I was talking
Yeah.
about just the look of them.
Yeah.
They look clean. They
Yeah.
look well put together. But like I was saying, it grossed 77 million.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
And it's also nominated.
for 5?
5 Oscars.
Is
I
it
know.
Oscars?
Five Academy Awards are nominated.
Oh.
Demi Moore, Best Actress. I know, Best Movie. I don't know about the other 3 categories. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is Best Original
I actually have it right
Screenplay.
here. So nominee for Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling.
Makes sense, yeah. I could have guessed that one.
Nominee for Best Motion Picture of the Year.
Yep.
Best Achieving a Director.
Okay,
Best
yeah.
Achievement in Directing, excuse me. Nominee for Best Performance by an Actress in Leading Role to Demi Moore. And Best Original Screenplay.
All right, cool.
And there's a lot of other ones, but those are the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Demi won Golden Globe for Best Actress.
She won a Saturn Award for Best Actress.
Yeah.
And there's the critics. She won the Critics' Choice. Wow, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. It was like, took me about halfway through the movie, and I was like, oh, I see it now.
And she won the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
Wow. Go Demi.
Yeah.
Came out of the woodwork.
Damn near retirement.
Yeah,
it
came
feels
out
like.
of the. It's what it feels like. Yeah, came
Yeah.
out of the woodwork and blew him out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
I mean, it's material that she can relate to in a huge way, you know.
Well, that's funny. I was actually reading she didn't.
Well, she didn't really connect to the character as who they were, but was relatable to the material, what it was saying.
Yeah, but the lack of family. That Elizabeth did not have was a big thing.
Which also drew her towards it because it was going to be a challenge.
But yeah, it's like the fact that she kind of disappeared and then came running out of the gate with this and did really well. And I was just also really impressed with the saying impressed with the nudity is weird, but her being just very
I know what you mean by it.
bare in it.
There's a thing is that the way that the nudity is, and this movie has a lot of female nudity.
Graphic nudity.
It's graphic because of the amount.
No, I'm just saying.
That's why. And then I'm just letting
It's
giving
I find that terminology funny.
It is very funny.
Graphic nudity.
But it's like there is this sense of it's like it's shot in a way where it's supposed to be like creating an idea of the male gaze, but the power is so much in the performers and the female themselves on how they're showing it and presenting it that it never feels like it's like meant for like we're just showing a naked woman. You know, it's very important to the story.
Well, that's why I also said that's why I chose the term bare for her
Yeah.
to bare herself, because it's like, you know, it's not Friday the 13th tits for tits.
Let's get drunk and take off the shirts in the hot tub.
It's not Girls Gone Wild. It's very
Did you
like
hear that noise in
the
the woods?
idea is to show the vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know. And
Well,
it was
and then
done
you got
really
the
well.
opposite.
And then Demi Moore coming out at 61.
Yeah.
Boom. Like, she's like, boom. And you're like, all right, girl.
Well, let's talk about the wider director, and then we get more into all of that as well. Because this was written and directed by, I mean, it's going to be kind of a quick with her because she doesn't have a lot, but I'm really curious where she's going to go now. Coralie Fargeat more of a French filmmaker, has really most notably this now. One episode she directed of The Sandman. Mm-hmm. And then this was a revenge film, a French revenge film called Revenge.
Yeah, it's like a sexual assault revenge thing. Yeah. I really want to watch it. I was reading about it.
I mean, it's got its own genre of stuff, movies, and apparently it is like really good. I get some of those movies get kind of like, I mean, she probably handled it really well, but some of them get really kind of uncomfortable.
It's kind of the point, though.
Yeah.
Like I Spit on Your Grave or Last House on the Left or that kind of stuff. I would assume, I haven't seen it, but I would assume it goes in that.
It's an easy way to use
realm.
Use that plot device in a very not useful way. Like if you're just using that as a plot device for shock value.
Yeah, but from what I read, that I don't feel
it doesn't seem like that.
That's why I use those two examples too. Yeah. I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left.
Last House on the Left almost falls into the uses.
The remake does.
Yeah, fair.
The remake does, but even the remake is still a pretty good revenge story.
Is that Amber Heard?
I don't know. Actually,
I can't remember.
I realize that unless she's an Aquaman, I have no idea who Amber Heard is.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like she just never was on my radar, and then she got on my radar for the Aquaman and then the Johnny Depp thing. And that's kind of where her career starts for me. And I kind of forget she had stuff before Aquaman.
She's in Zombieland.
Yeah, I didn't know that for 10 years.
All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
Never seen that.
You might like that. It's a weird take on the slasher films.
No. It's just
The Ward.
Just Amber Heard is just not on my radar, like whatsoever.
Huh. Anywho, but yeah, Coralie Fargeat nominated for directing this film. So I'm really curious to see where she goes. I mean, also what's interesting is, again, I fucking hate the French language, but all French philosophies that it's fucking awesome. It
felt very French.
I know, it was awesome.
As soon as I realized it was a French director and writer, I went,
okay, yeah.
It's the French.
Give me some nihilism, man. I'm fucking in there. I'm in it. Some French nihilism. Fuck yeah, let's go.
I don't know. After a couple centuries of revolutions and stuff, they had an impact on the
off with the heads.
The look at it.
Let's do it. Let's take down the bourgeoisie. I was like, wait a second. All right. So yeah, let's go into starring.
How many movies do you see this year?
Oh, that's right. I had 23.
I had 30.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Looking through the list, I was like, I feel like there's a handful more.
It made me feel good.
I was surprised that I'd seen 23.
It made me feel good. I was like, okay, so it's got some new stuff in there, Especially I feel like with watching movies as a passing of time could be seen as a waste of time. A pastime could be seen as a waste of time. But I think if you're sitting there and you're really into film and how they make things, it's nice to go like, oh, I actually ingested new points of view and ideas.
Well, especially now it's like, well, I want to watch this because I want to see this actor's performance, or it's like, oh, I really want to see this story sounds interesting regardless of who's.
Or I like this director and I'm curious. They haven't done anything in a while and I'm curious what they've been up to.
Or this new studios. What is A24 coming out with now?
Yeah,
I saw the TV glow.
Did you mean for that to be that pandering? Was that totally by accident?
I'm just in a weird mood.
Okay. All right. So getting into starring, as we already mentioned, we have Demi Moore, the gorgeous, very talented Demi Moore, who plays Elizabeth Sparkle.
Who really only has about 73 acting credits, which is a lot, but I was expecting more, which says a lot about how after her boom in the 80s and 90s where she was fucking everywhere, she got really, I don't know if she got particular. I mean, maybe she did, she started a family and all that.
Yeah, stuff, I think she did a lot of the family kind of.
Yeah. But, I think her most, what would you say her most popular movie is?
Ghost.
I was going to say the same thing. And then next I would say maybe G.I. Jane.
I think that there's one in between.
Striptease.
Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
I'd say Ghost, A Few Good Men, then G.I. Jane maybe. G.I. Jane is just really intense subject matter, and it's really not people's cup of tea.
Yeah, but I feel like everybody knows it. A G.I. Jane joke.
I got it. So it would be Ghost, Charlie's Angels. then G.I. Jane.
Full throttle.
Yeah.
She's great in that, actually.
Yeah, I think that would be like the kind of trajectory.
What about Now and Then?
What do you think HBND? Oh, Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, she's the voice of
Esmeralda.
the non-singing voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she not sing in that? Oh, that was the time.
That was time. Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you I tried to watch that the other day? And
No.
I couldn't sit through it.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, it was. This is really like specifically. It was kind of interesting. I thought I couldn't watch it because of Quasimodo's singing voice. I always forget what the term's called, but when the
vibrato.
Yeah, that because it was that era in the 90s. Every note that he hit, he did excessive that, and I could not handle it.
Why can't they look past me?
Yeah. I couldn't do it. And I was like, I loved this movie. I loved this music, and I loved the art style. I just like, this is a great movie. And then he just, every time he sang it, I went, it was One Day Out There.
I don't know how it goes.
If I could spend one day.
It's like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
If I could spend one day.
The whole time he's singing, and I just couldn't do it. I just had to.
That's fair.
And I just was really bummed out. It's like, I loved it. This is like one of my few Disney movies I really like enjoy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Then Margaret Qualley.
Who plays Sue, who's our other Demi.
Our young, the other self.
The other self.
There is
her dark passenger.
What is it? There is no
us. There is only you.
There is no them, or I can't. Oh, fuck. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's on IMDb.
There is no we. There's only I.
There's no you. You are one.
Yeah, but I think it's only there is no we. There's only you.
The one. They did call her the Matrix. You are the Matrix. You can end this.
Margaret's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Poor Things, which has been on the list for a while. And most recently, something called Blue Moon, which is about a director struggling with alcoholism while doing Oklahoma.
Oh, interesting. She's also in the other Yorgos Lanthimos newer one, Kinds of Kindness.
Oh.
Which apparently all of the prosthetic that she wore in this fucked up her face, and she had like really bad acne for 6 months. And so it kind of like screwed with, like, they had to do extra makeup on her in Kinds of Kindness when she went to go film that.
Which prosthetics? Which one?
She was the Monstro.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I put the two movies that I've seen her.
Your favorite game ever. She's a voice in your favorite game ever.
Death Stranding. Yeah. God. I put down The Nice Guys as well, because I put down the two movies that I have seen.
Did you remember her in them?
I don't remember her in The Nice Guys, but I do remember her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a handful of times, so like I know like each like character that's in that.
I haven't. I think I've only seen it once.
You need to rewatch it.
I do.
It's so good.
I've been meaning to.
Mikey Madison is great in it too.
And then to keep it short and simple, I think just the last one, Dennis Quaid, who we did talk about in episode 144 with Enemy Mine.
That's 144, huh?
Mm-hmm. Dennis Quaid plays Harvey, real misogynistic douchebag, head of the studio guy.
Producer type guy, yeah. He has 122 acting credits.
I wrote down Interspace, the ones I just remembered. I wrote down Interspace, Dragonheart, and Pandorum.
I didn't put anything else. It's Dennis Quaid.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Daddy Quaid. He was so
G.I. Joe.
Horrible in this. It was great.
And like not like his performance is great. Which also originally his role was Ray Liotta, who unfortunately passed away, I think, kind of during the filming of this.
I forgot that Ray Liotta passed away.
So it was like 3 months into filming, they had to recast the role, and they brought in Dennis Quaid.
God, Ray Liotta would have been so
Ray Liotta
good.
would have been amazing.
Oh God!
Imagine that shrimp scene with Ray Liotta.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
with that, just that laugh. And yeah. That's got.
Sorry.
That laugh and just the disgustingness. Man, that's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like it was written.
And imagine that suit too. Yeah, Ray Liotta in that suit.
I see it.
Everything.
Is so
Dennis
perfect.
Quaid. It was great. It was a great like. Not your regular role for Dennis Quaid, but Dennis Quaid did absolutely phenomenal with
just
it.
Being so hateable.
But when you look at everything that's built with it, it's like this was made for Ray Liotta.
And again, I don't want to say that to
rest
diminish
in peace,
to Quaid's performance.
Oh, I'm sure Dennis Quaid was. I feel like he was doing channeling Ray Liotta like as like an honor. It's like a tribute to Ray Liotta through Dennis Quaid.
That makes the whole role just a little more. I can't think of a word for it. A little more fun to watch now. Mm-hmm. With the idea of it being written for Ray Liotta, because
well, I don't know if it was written for Ray Liotta. But he was originally cast.
But he was cast, so that was then going to be the
Ray Liotta had built this character,
and I just think I'm like, God damn, that would have been really interesting. And I just see it. I just see that scene in Goodfellas, or the multiple scenes in Goodfellas of him laughing.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that would have been great.
Exactly.
But going back to it, Daddy Quaid did great. He was horrible.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And
he's supposed to be.
Well, that's it. That's what's weird, because Daddy Quaid is usually...
Pretty girls smile.
Like, he's usually charming and, like, low.
Well, what's crazy is that his sleaziness, it's a charming sleaziness that he has, too.
Yeah, he just turned it on. When usually he's that, and that's why I call him Daddy Quaid, is because the joke is he's daddy, But he's also older. He's the older guy, the good-looking guy that, you know, is into wine and shit. Like, in this, he's like...
It's not Sideways.
No, I was thinking Parent Trap.
Parent Trap. Oh, okay.
He owns the vineyard. That's what I was thinking.
I'm trying to remember the movie they had with Thomas Hayden Church. And,
Sideways.
No, Elliot Page. He's the dad. I own it. I can't remember the name. Smart People. There we go. Oh, I own the DVD if you want to watch it.
I do. Yeah. By that,
it's one of those like early or like mid 2000s like indie drama ones. Like
you said, it was those three are in it.
Yeah, those three are.
Oh, that alone, I'm like, yeah, that's great. Sounds like a great cast. That's all I wrote down.
That's all I wrote down too. There's anybody else that's in it that doesn't. So there's not. Yeah.
Okay. Give us our scores while I pull up the reviews.
Yeah. Going into reviews, Tommy's review corner, where he sits in the corner staring at reviews.
I wish we had more production value, because I would like to have suddenly me be in like a reading corner.
Hello, kids.
Time to read the reviews.
So on IMDb, this has got a 7.3, which I was like, okay, makes sense. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got an 89% tomato meter, which I was like, that I saw that coming. And then a 75 popcorn meter rating. So it's a little, it's all high, but like a little bit mixed between critics. Mm-hmm. And well, it's the critics obviously love this, but it's fucking nominated for 5 Oscars. You know?
Well, to getting into the critics love this. So on Metacritic, this has a 78, which comes to generally favorable, with 49 positive, 6 mixed, and 2 negative.
Oh man, those negatives! I'll fight you.
So for the 100, we're going with St. Louis Post-Dispatch by Katie Walsh, who gave it up. Like, sorry, that I did that in a weird order. They gave it 100. Fargeat. How did we decide her name is pronounced?
Fargeat.
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 Sure.
Fargeat. Kind of turned into Borat there for a second. Fargeat delivers.
My wife.
Oh shit! Actually, okay, because I didn't know how to say this word, so. Okay, so Fargeat delivers a macabre, funny, tragic, absurd, and grotesque.
Grandiose.
Grandiole.
Oh.
I wrote it down. Graganiole. So it's like grand. Damn it! I did it like 6 times yesterday, and now I totally forgot how to say it. Graganiole. Graganiole. It's a macabre play. It's a type of very dark satirical thing. So, and I totally butchered it, but hey, I tried. Yeah. And I did.
You put in the work.
I watched the YouTube video like 6 times in a row, and I said it out loud a bunch of times, and I totally forgot about it. But grotesque grand guignol of butts and guts, a bonkers and brutal beauty horror that elevates the genre to a hysterically unprecedented height.
I like that.
For the mixed, at the Chicago Sun-Times with a 50. I forgot I have to go really down because there's so many positives. 50. At the Chicago Sun-Times by Richard Roper. The satire becomes almost numbingly obvious over the far too long running time of 140 minutes. And with all due appreciation for the strong work by the leads, the horrifically impressive VFX and prosthetics, and a few moments of pitch black humor, we exit the film feeling more pummeled than enlightened.
Interesting.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
I really felt it overstayed its welcome, and it really just over the fucking head was like, and there you go, and there you go, and there you go. And by the end of it, I really checked out.
And that's, that's fair.
But
I do think that's what it was wanting to do.
Okay. I understand that. And I understand that especially for body horror too, because body horror is in just the genre of that it is in excess. Every body horror movie, Hellraisers, Event Horizon, The Fly, anything like those 3 examples I think are enough. But those are super excessive. But the only thing, and by saying those, I totally lost my train of thought. Fuck. Okay. Maybe I'll come back. Going in the negative. So the very bottom of the barrel, gave it a 20. Dana Stevens at Slate. After 2 hours and 20 minutes, a flamboyantly repulsive variation of this well-worn theme, even the strongest stomached and most feminist of viewers could be excused for muttering, "We get it already."
Damn.
Yep. And that was all.
Yeah, we get it. Being a woman sucks.
Am I right?
Well, okay. Like a big thing about this, and I'll lead off with this, is because this whole process of what the substance is, like creating this younger version of yourself and it coming out of your back, and then you have to, it's like 7 days you, 7 days it. It's never fully, I guess it does become clear that they don't share a psyche, but there is supposed to be some type of connection between the two that isn't fully there. It's like in the transfer, there's a little bit of something, but it's not.
Well, that's what I started kind of checking out, because it kind of went from this like sharing body clone thing to kind of mother-daughter offspring thing.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Well, she's taking the nutrients from her to keep her going. She came out of her.
Yes, okay, the fertility, yeah.
There's this kind of, and then once you created the different psyche thing, it kind of felt more like a paternal thing to me.
Well, and that's
the next generation taking, and then her finally giving up control and being like, no, I need you. What kids do, what parents do, their children, and live their dreams through their children by making them act or sing and dance or whatever.
You see, and that's one big side of it that I didn't grasp that until I read some like themes and analysis, and I was like, oh yeah, that's totally there, because I was so much more on the beauty standard side of it. Of like, like thinking about like this whole process of creating a young version of yourself to want to relive that, part of it. And it was the thought, what was it? I wrote, the whole process is more inconvenient than useful. And then I was like, well,
like what I said, I was like, man, this seems like a lot of fucking work for
but
not a big payoff.
Much like what women do to keep up with beauty standards, everything is so much more inconvenient than it actually, it could be useful, Yeah. And I was like, that's a very, like, it's not explicitly said, but when you really think about it, it's like this is all a lot of work just for, women do this on a regular basis. Now it's an exaggerated idea of it.
Well, and it could be
not just women, men do it as well,
Yeah, well, I think that, obviously that the beauty standards for women and men, if we're just going to be talking about the how do I word that? The gender identity of a man and a woman.
Femme,
that idea are very different. It's like, and you've seen the evolution of them. I think men do have it in a certain way, especially of like this jacked, ripped idea guy. And it's like, you can kind of look at the history of like, what was considered hot in the male gaze or the gaze, from like going from the 50s to now is very different. But it has been way more heavy-handed and really in your face for women.
Yeah.
Really
for a much longer time.
For a extremely much longer time. And I was just thinking, the point I'm getting at is that maybe I do have to keep myself in check when watching this, because we have talked about those movies that are not for you. Mm-hmm. And I mean the general you.
Yeah.
So I have to keep in mind that I am not a woman. I identify as a man, and so there might be some aspects to this that I don't fully understand.
Yeah.
I get that. But I just was getting to the point of the reason I got checked out was when I realized the second psyche and sat there and realized, well, what are you getting out of this now? The point of doing this was for you to get some of that youth and that vitality and that sexual energy and to get the benefits. Now that I know as an audience member, you're not getting the benefit at all because you're not even it became very clear that she wasn't even remembering what was happening. So you really just gave up your time and body for this other person. And once that happened in the plot, I got checked out because I was like, I don't see a point in this anymore for you.
No, that makes sense. And that's where the idea was like what you will do as in your old age to hold on to that youth, and that idea of wanting that is going to be what drains you and kills you.
But yeah.
And then they literally take a lot of these metaphors and then just make them actuality, which is where the absurdist nature of this and satirical part of it is really heavy-handed. Is like, as opposed to just being like a little, it's not like, oh, we're going to use the metaphor loosely. It's like, no, we're going to take the metaphor and bring life to it. And that's what I love about this movie, is that the youth literally kills her and she can't let go of it because she's addicted to wanting it.
That might be my issue with it, because now that I'm thinking about when I use those other three examples of just body horror, I'm not going into like the theme of it, but just the body horror aspect. Yeah. The grotesqueness of the human form being changed against your will and all that kind of stuff. The three examples that I did give are concrete.
Yes.
At the end of the day. Even Hellraiser. Hellraiser is like...
as wild as it is.
As wild as it is. They are from another dimension. They are demons that come and give pleasure and pain. Yeah. They have a purpose. It's very... In that world is concrete. Yeah. Fly, same thing. And even Event Horizon, which I guess is kind of a cop-out because Event Horizon is just Hellraiser in space. But...
well, I mean... Event Horizon, they've opened a dimension to hell. Yeah. In Hellraiser, they're not necessarily from hell.
It kind of, anyways, yeah. That's not neither here nor there. But
it's splitting hairs.
Yeah, splitting hairs here. But I guess that's what my issue is with this, and I just have a hard time with that. I don't like in my film. I don't like existential philosophies in my film. I like concrete. This is the world. This is what we're doing. Which I do like your observation about the whole movie I was watching. We're in LA because we are. That is what this is LA, but it's not. This is an idea. This is the Grand Theft Auto map. It's LA, but it's not. This is
David Lynch creating LA.
Yeah, I see. But once you put that aspect that it's this caricature of the city, then I went, okay, that made me appreciate it a little bit more. And this is something I would like to rewatch at some point. It would have to be given enough time.
Yeah. This definitely don't like. Oh, I feel like watching The Substance.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat a pretty raw steak while doing it.
You can watch Raw and do that.
I need to watch that again.
I still haven't seen it. I know what happens.
I remember liking it a lot. Yeah. I mean, this is cool.
That's another feminist movie.
Yeah, that one was cool. She fucked shit up. So it's just when you get and I appreciate when someone wants to take their message and make it, and like that what you're saying, you take it and they made it really concrete, like they made the thing happen. She was worried about becoming a monster and she became the fucking monster. But at the end of the day too, I think what happened is as we were watching this, I got this idea in my head of what was going to happen because we kind of talked about it. Yeah. That it was going to be this...
We thought it was a completely different kind of movie.
Well, yeah, it was going to be this one consciousness now split into two different bodies and the ramifications of that. And Demi Moore's character, Elizabeth, having a lot more... She did, and I know you're going to correct me on that. I thought she'd have more control over the situation.
I thought too as well.
She did because she could have pulled the plug at any point.
Yes, but this weird addiction almost
I thought she was gonna have more control over this other form
because she's given that we can it's told on the phone with the people Like, you are the Matrix. You can end this at any time, but there's no going back. There's no reversing.
Yeah.
What has transcended is done.
Yeah.
But there was like, and then you see this like turmoil, like, and she has it again and again and again of like, there's something that she can't let go. And it's that idea of the youth.
See, but that's what I'm also saying too. That's where I get the parental thing. I get the parental thing more I think it shifts. It goes from the beauty thing and then it shifts over to the parental.
I can't let go of my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see that too.
Because it is.
Well, but also there's a lot of people that, we don't have kids, so we can't really, feel this, but there are people that I've heard, it's like they see a reflection of themselves in their child.
Yeah.
It's like father to son, even father to daughter, vice versa,
Yeah.
mother to daughter, mother to son, So there is that. And also, yeah, it came out of her.
That's what, yeah. I mean, the second she gave birth to it and it got its own consciousness, I was like, well, we're going to a parental thing because there's even that scene. And that's also what I'm kind of talking about the beating over your head thing. There's that scene where she is watching TV and she's making all that food from the French cookbook and it's just slop everywhere and mess. And I was just like, okay.
It's weird. Those moments really got me into Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's actually, they called that chapter Requiem.
Oh yeah. But I could see that. But it's like, yeah, that was one of the moments I was like, okay, we get it. You're throwing eggs around and shit. But like that right there, that she has this I hate you like moment and acts out very much. And it really made me think of a toxic relationship between a mother and daughter of just really butting heads because they're so much alike. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that everything Sue was doing is something that Elizabeth would have done when she was the same age.
Yeah.
Because they are
essentially the same person.
Yeah. And then there was this disconnect with that. And I think that was just my biggest issue. And that's just how she wrote it. And for me to critique it is really stupid.
Well, it's a world, since it's satirical and it's absurdist. It lives within the rules of its own reality.
Yes.
Like a cartoon world.
Which I am now chewing on and understanding more. And that's one of the nice things about this podcast is it actually really forces us to talk about it in this way, as opposed to just being like, I don't like it.
It's like, this is like the reason why, and sorry. I love these kind of like absurdist things where it's a world that they create their own rules, because it's how I, like when I'm writing, that's what I visualize. It's what I create. That's what I see. I've tried to write that, all American play, of Mice and Men or, Death of a Salesman. I tried to write stuff like that, and I was just like, there was something about the groundedness of them, just like this felt too boring, and it was like too hard to get into that. But then as soon as I start creating, like I look at a metaphor and I bring that to life, all of a sudden I can create characters.
Well, that's what you were suggesting for me to do for my thing. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's like when I was reading about Coralie and the fact that she basically wrote a novelization of this.
Yeah.
With really in-depth details, basically shot, like certain scenes shot for shot. And I was like, that's a really interesting take on it and an interesting thing to do as a writer and director. Because not only... because she wrote it as a writer and director. Yeah. I was like, that's very interesting. And actually, I meant to tell you this the other night, too. I want you to read that scene that I wrote last night. I just think you'll just think it's weird that I wrote that and then we watched this.
Oh, fair.
Because you're going to read it and then think I wrote it after watching this.
Okay, fair.
And it's really weird. I was like, oh. All right. But as we were watching it, I was like, was that like subconscious? But I was like, I didn't really know anything about this movie. Was it just a weird coincidence?
Or do we live in a simulation? Maybe.
Yes, it's a quite beautiful simulation.
We are the Matrix.
We feed it.
It's only 7 days. And 7 days on, 7 days off.
Yeah, and that's something I did appreciate that aspect of the film, too. It's like, so we have this mysterious substance. We don't know who makes it, where it comes from. She doesn't seem to pay for it, which I thought was interesting.
We don't know what her finances, how, like... I mean, it's also like, in the reality, in the realms of this world, we just got to assume she's she's famous, she's got money, she's rich.
Yeah, well, it's in this world,
money is not
the whole world is a carrot. You kind of go with what it tells you. Yeah, it doesn't need to be explicitly explained how much it is, and it's not. Death becomes her, which is another.
Also, again, but I have a lot of inspiration
Yeah.
from this as well.
Well, like, like the scene and she, how much, this doesn't need that necessarily, but.
Oh, and also another one, Death Becomes Her, much more grounded.
Very grounded. In this world, there's a secret world.
That's where the sci-fi of this really like shines through as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's fair because even Death Becomes Her is like a dark fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sci-fi kind of thing. Because even then it's like this substance is based in science. Because even the beginning of the movie is the yolk scene. And then Death Becomes Her is very mystical, magical. It's the Lazarus
It's a potion.
It's a potion. It's the Lazarus pits from Batman.
Yeah. Ra's al Ghul's piss.
That's a new one. What was I saying though? I really wanted to finish that thought.
Oh, sorry. This is sci-fi.
No, it was before that shit.
I was talking about how this isn't a grounded world. Death becomes her.
Yeah,
the money.
I lost it. Damn. The whole world being a carrot. So we have this. Okay, I remember. So we had this substance, and we don't know who makes it. We don't know. Oh yeah, okay, there I got it. We don't know who makes it. We don't know where it comes from. What it is really. I mean, it's even called the substance. It's not like Resident Evil or it's Formula X245.
I mean, that's its own kind of deconstruction, but yeah, this is very much deconstructed to the point of it's the substance.
Yes,
There at the show.
and let me finish it.
Sorry.
God damn it.
How? Sorry, I'm like agreeing with you while I'm doing this.
The substance. We get it.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. Gotta get out real quick before I forget. Something I really like is that we get these really ambiguous, weird directions. We get this box and it says injector 1. It's very like IKEA furniture coming down. And then it's also at the same time not being very clear because it's very clear on instructions. It's not being clear about the consequences. And I really, really appreciated that because at the end of the day, it's really easy. 7 days. Swap it. That's it.
Follow the rules.
That's it. That's all you have to do. And then, of course, the 20-year-old can't follow the simple 7-day rule and fucks it all up. And again, what it also, I don't know if you were reading this, it had a very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. No, that was another... It's a thing that's brought up in like reviews and analysis as well.
And it was like, I know again, it's not it's the point of the movie is not for it to happen, but I was thinking about, did you ever watch the BBC show, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde show?
No.
I can't remember what it was called. I think it was just called Hyde. Was that what it was called? It was really interesting because it really went into the psychology.
That sounds right.
Just Hyde, right?
Yeah.
But it really went into the psychology about the two different men and their, duality. But the way what I really liked about it personally was the way they communicated was with tape recorders.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
in their pocket, they would just have one. And then when the switchover would happen right before, they would leave a message about what they had done and kind of what to look out for. But they were opposing. It was almost like a Sherlock and
Watson? Oh, no.
Moriarty.
Yeah.
Moriarty?
That sounds right.
Or Moriarty? Whatever. Moriarty.
H&M.
Like they kind of had that thing because they were opposing sides because Hyde is a killer and kind of animalistic and everything. And I was just thinking about that and I was like, that's all you guys got to do. Just leave each other fucking notes because you can't communicate.
Yeah.
You think you can communicate by your actions and more of the repercussions and the mess that you make of each other's lives. If you guys just communicated.
Women communicating though. Come on. Let me take this feminist movie and just drag it down.
Well, I mean, that's also a message in it, too. The women have been raised to oppose each other. And
Kind of tough right there if you want to. Jesus.
I just wanted to do that. I got a haircut. It's nice and fluffy and soft.
Cool. I thought you were going to keep talking while you did that about your idea.
Oh, just, that's another element to it is that, especially in that industry, and I guess you could argue any industry, women are really, can be really taught to, there can be only one,
Oh, women are pitted against each other constantly.
Thank you. That's what
No, that's like not even just in Hollywood, just everywhere.
That's why I corrected myself and I was like, you can make the argument for a lot of different.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Environments that would happen. And that's what that was too. It was it's kind of one of those movies where you talk about it, the more you sit on it, the more you chew on it. It's like it's really funny, and that's kind of that kind of makes sense now because that's my issue. her whole thing is, well, I'm getting replaced. So now I'm going to do this thing. I finally hit rock bottom and feeling bad about myself and my age and the way I look. And, so I'm going to do this substance. And then I do the substance and I see that ad for my replacement. So I'm just going to replace them with me. Lo and behold, no, you just made the 20-year-old replacement who is still the 20-year-old replacement who's still going to do what she needs to get that spot.
You've created your own monster.
You've created your own monster. As opposed to just sitting there and, then there's that really, really sad scene when she's like been, the witches fied.
Hunched over already or?
Yeah, like fully.
Yeah, okay.
Big swinging boobies and everything. And she's looking at that like photo of her.
Yeah.
And and that's that thing. It's that Moira shit advice of getting nudies done from when you're young because you'll look back on them with awe and your breasts in the perfect place, darling. And it was really that kind of vibe of like, she really didn't appreciate it. And now it's too late.
Too late to do it.
Yeah. And you're like, man, hindsight.
And you've let the youth drain you.
Hindsight is a bitch.
You've become so obsessed with the idea of youth that you've let it drain all of you. You've become something you don't recognize.
Yeah, you completely fed into that. And it's like at the end of the day in this movie, she's 50 years old.
Yeah.
In this day, and I know, again, this is going back into that thing I said earlier about can't really say much about it because of who I am, how I identify, and the experiences I've had. But in the grand scheme of things, you're 50 years old. And you look great. You're Demi. You got money. It's like there are you can. It's
like on the outside purveyor. It's like you look great. Why would you feel this way about yourself?
Well, it's not only the looking great. It's like you look great. You do a fitness program, so you're in good health. You have money. You have these things that I could see as positive. But now you're talking about the psychological aspect of being completely objectified your whole life and only being valuable because you're hot in your 20s.
Yep.
Then
you're just doing it right there.
And then you feed into it again.
Yep.
And again and again.
Yep.
No, it was definitely an interesting
It's like
watch.
this movie takes like so many feminist theories and just finds a way to explore them in a 2.5 hour body horror film, which I thought was, that's why I'm so mind blown by this movie, is that it says so much.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking now about kind of not retracting what I said about the excessive thing.
And that's what it's like. Also, the excessiveness is important because of what it's saying.
Yeah, but I'm kind of retracting what I said now because now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, the 3 examples that I used, let's kind of jump back in time and try and think about roughly around the first time I watched those. And then I kind of started going through those movies really quick in my head. They're all really excessive. Mm-hmm. You just get kind of numb to it the more you see it. Hellraiser's really excessive. Mm-hmm. Event Horizon is really, really excessive. Mm-hmm. Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, excessive. So I'm like, okay, it might actually be especially with the body horror thing, that you do get numb to it the more times you experience it because it becomes more second nature to see it. So I'm wondering if this is something that if I were to go back and watch it and kind of be more also prepared for a body horror.
Fair.
Which I was not when we sat down for this.
Yeah. It's really okay. I just got to say it. When Monstro Elizasu was birthed, have you seen that mock Capri Sun commercial where the kids form together and become a monster and it turns into a body horror? No. Like the commercial changes into a body horror.
No,
like it's like short. I'll have to find it. It's really funny. It's like 3, because the Capri Sun commercial where they drink it, they turn into liquid, they fly through. Like you never seen the Capri Sun commercial where they turn liquid? Alex Mack, man.
When's the last time you think I saw a Capri Sun commercial? I don't know. No, I'm not sure.
When you were 7?
Yeah.
And I was 12.
No, I don't remember it.
No, it's like,
I believe you.
There's like 3 kids. They drink Capri Sun. They liquefy, and they go move into the park super fast, and they get together in one liquid form. But then in the original commercials, it comes out, they're like, and the kids are ready to play soccer. But in this, it's like they come like, and they're like one unit with like 3 heads, and like
they turn into Elizabeth Sue.
Like yeah, like a Cronenberg fucking creature. Yeah.
What's her name? Eliza Sue.
That was I love
hey, you guys.
One of those like at the very beginning it kind of drops Elizabeth, like it's Elizabeth's story, and then we introduced Sue and you get Sue, and then the entire movie plays, and you kind of forget that those title cards happened, and then Monstro Elizabeth Sue is born, and Monstro Elizabeth Sue, and that's where like there's like little bits of weird, uncomfortable humor, and then like that's kind of like a tension breaking, non-uncomfortable humor. Like boom, oh, this is meant to just kind of like.
Well, it gets like you were saying, very toxic.
Realize the
adventure.
ridiculous, it's a toxic adventure.
Yeah, at the end there,
they used so much blood. They were literally spraying blood out of a fire hose at the end of it.
That ending really did take me out.
How it went over the top with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And again, I really don't want to say much about it, to be honest. But it's like this whole making a copy of a copy thing. You're like, well, that's already just inherently a bad idea. Everybody knows that. And then we have. And I think this last review is the 2 hours and 20 minutes of it was too long.
Yeah, it's sure. Okay. Because I will say this, like one of the things for me, the beginning was really slow. And as we called out, there's a use of a lot of tropes building up into this. And then it's like a lot of different tropes of characters, which is what deconstruction, a deconstruction thing would do, is that we're going to take these tropes, we're going to build a character with it, and then the original idea will be through these tropes.
Yeah.
And that's very much what this movie is, which I also know the reason why I really like that. But the slow beginning, and Demi Moore didn't feel super grounded yet in the character. I see why Demi was, won the Golden Globe and is nominated for an Oscar, but I didn't really see it until about like 45 minutes to an hour in.
I think that's another thing too. I mean, and it does it well. I will say, like, it does it well. There is a pace, that made me think of it. There's this pace change, and by the end of it, it's really boom, boom, boom. I didn't really like we started off at 3 and we went to an 11. Yeah. It's like if we went to started at 3 and went to like an 8, I probably...
That's fair.
It just went a little too...
And I think the 11 is important for what Margaret, what Coralie is saying. Yes.
And I agree, and that's why I said I feel like an idiot critiquing it, because especially in this situation of being writer-director, clearly a message that we thought
you're talking
through.
Like from last week, look at it! Like this is very much... Look at it!
And like we always we didn't do it this episode, but these are just our opinions, and they're neither right nor wrong. They're just how we feel about it. And I'm just thinking about it as me, as an audience member, the suddenly up to 13 thing. And that was just the very end, because I was already kind of checking out because of I just didn't like the split personality thing. Mm-hmm. I liked more the idea of it being more grounded in a center.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like the conflicts we could have made would have been different and more interesting to me. And then to go from the 3 and then jump it up, again, pacing wise, to an 11. Once we got to that 11, I was like, too loud, too much, too loud. Can't do it. I can't do it. And then she's walking through the hallways and blood. And
what's crazy is like at that moment,
kill the monster.
Yeah, no, it was literally like David Lynch's Elephant Man, and like just the
Frankenstein, with
the persecution that women go through with like all of a sudden that all of a sudden they're the monster. I think what did I write about that? The unrealistic beauty standards of Hollywood and how they will persecute women. It's like...
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree.
I mean, we've already been talking about that.
And it's like a sentiment, but her becoming this thing, that message got really muddled to me. Because,
it was because it's a sense of like forcing you to look at it. Like, look at what you've made me become, and I'm going to spray you with all of it, and then you're going to freak out, and they're going to reject it and want to kill the monster. Like, it's a lot of different ideas just splattered right there, like the blood splattering everywhere.
And that also could be the issue with it, too.
There's too many ideas being splattered together.
Too much stimulus,
And like everything came together in that moment, and a lot.
And also, it's not even
like Carrie getting revenge, and David Lynch is the Elephant Man, kill the monster, and there's so many other things.
Well, and I think maybe that is what it is, because it's even then, it's like, and this isn't because of this theme or this movie and its themes. It's overstimulus doesn't work for me. I don't work well with overstimuli, and because especially at the end we have so many different of these, like, okay. It's like jumping out of an airplane. Okay, go. When they space it out so your parachutes don't get intertwined. Yeah. Okay, go. And then they all landed on the drop site at the same time, and you're like, Whoa. Okay, and then it jumps right down to a 3 again at the very end. And then you're just kind of sitting there and feeling assaulted, which, again, that's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah.
So it did what it was supposed to do. And
100%.
it's very comfortable in its own skin, pun intended.
Hey.
But I don't know. I think I need to really watch it again at some point.
Fair.
To really...
I was so fucking just like by the end of it, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, especially like our final shot, which seemed a little. That's where I could see them really like you're really fucking beating a dead horse at that point. Is Blob? They called it the Blob. Blob. Elizabeth going onto her star and melting into it.
Yeah, and then getting washed away.
It's still just like it's like that's actually a good. It's a weird. It's a little much more. It's like beating a dead horse, but it's a very good button to the end of it. Because I was sitting there like when she's walking down the street as Monstro Elizabeth Sue, I was like, man, they should have just had her like fall apart in the
you were
building.
Saying, yeah,
like the thing that forced her to like that was like the surroundings that created this thing in a way. Metaphor, I was like, that would be a good way to end it metaphorically. But then how it was her face dissolving into her star, looking up at the starry night of the palm with the palm trees. Like, okay, you found another way of saying the same thing.
You could have had both. I mean, you could have had
Yeah.
her do the disintegrating thing in the theater,
Yeah,
and then the blob
finds its way to the star.
and well, then you could make that a message of perseverance. Even in this
Yeah.
broken state, she made it to the last thing she was gonna goddamn do is get to her star.
Yeah.
So she, you could have had both.
I think there's only one editing thing that happened in this entire movie that really took me out, that I really didn't like, and it's when she looks at the phone number of the old high school guy, and his face comes up.
Oh, I think I figured that out.
What do you mean?
I this is just speculating. So when Sue is on that show, that like nighttime show, doing the interview, she's talking about Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was on a soap opera. So I think that we had those little elements because those are very soap opera tropes.
Yeah. Okay. Like, are you talking about like seeing the cut the face?
Yeah, yeah, and the face and the sparkles when she's.
It reminded me of something out of like more. It reminded me of something out of like a comedy, leaning more in comedy than like what this kind of was.
But I think that's why that's my speculation.
Because
it is a soap opera
see where
thing.
yeah, and I get that. But it came across as more of spoon feeding the audience that we didn't remember this person.
Yeah, but that doesn't feel like this person that made this would have done that. I think she would have been like, well, then fuck you. If you don't remember, that's not my problem.
Well, and again, but that's why it's like you don't need that face to come out and say.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like having that felt like you were retelling the audience, oh, you may not remember who this is.
Yeah, and I'm saying I don't think she did that. I think it was a call to the soap opera thing.
Yeah, but I mean, still, that was the only editing thing I didn't like.
Yeah, but
and it's a little bit slow pacing.
I want to like. I tried to find something about it. I didn't really, but it'd be funny if to come out and see why, because that was so on purpose.
It's such a very specific moment that that's kind of hard to find unless you really like ask.
Well, it's a couple times in that she does that lens flare thing. The what is it called? The putting the image, the imposing the image on. There's a couple times she does that.
Is there?
The most blaring one is when she's getting the number for the boyfriend. But there's a couple times where we're remembering something and there's a flash, little boop. And that's what I was saying. It's not one. It's a couple of them, and it feels very.
I don't remember the other ones. So if you can, I will. But don't worry about it if you can't remember another example.
Well, there's the one at the end when she's doing the star. And the imposing images on it are in that same kind of format of.
Okay.
And there's one other one that I remember. I don't remember when it is, but I do remember there's another one besides the ex-boyfriend.
You know what it made me think of? Something that you would get out of Community and with Dan Harmon's Community, like Joel McHale's character looking at a thing and all of a sudden like a face comes up and it's like, yeah, remember this moment?
And that's what because she was in that show, and we only ever find really that bad out that show is on that interview when she's like, yeah, she used to watch that when I was growing up. So in a way, I kind of grew up with her.
I thought she was talking about the workout.
No, she
stuff.
said something else.
Oh, okay.
She didn't say the workout show.
I missed that.
It was something before.
Yeah.
In her like heyday before her workout thing, and so I was like, oh, I think that's what we're doing there.
We're a little over an hour. Do you have any?
I think we should.
I'm actually. We talked about that a solid good amount.
Yeah.
Very feminist movie. Very feminist. And I was kind of expecting that going in. I wasn't expecting what came out. Literally.
Tit ball.
Dude, oh my God.
A tit ball.
Such a great way to use a metaphor of like
There's another one.
A nip slip.
Well, there's another one too. Too bad her tits aren't on her than the place where her nose is.
Oh, yeah.
There's
That's
another
right. That's right. Yeah,
thought they did it enough.
I see, yeah. But like when like the boob comes out of the orifice and drops on the ground, I was like, what a great example of just like how like it's a humiliating thing that happens to this monster that's already humiliated, but it's like one of the most humiliating things you can have happen in Hollywood, quote unquote, for a woman is your boob popping out of your dress.
Oh no, we upgraded from that.
Well,
now it's
it's in a classy way.
But
like that's exactly
as classy as you can get flashing.
That's exactly what I took that entire like because like otherwise why would that come out? It's like oh like she had a nip slip and I was just like that is so fucking brilliant.
My biggest goal with this episode is this episode of us is that someone has no idea what we're talking about, doesn't know anything about it. They listen to this.
We totally forgot to give a warning at the beginning of like spoilers if you don't want to watch. Like,
it came out in 2024. I think that's enough. Like, I get weird when it's in like the 4 or 5 year period, and there's just enough time to. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But I think that I think people aren't going to listen to this if they care, they won't listen to it.
Yeah, fair. But you're saying, sorry.
I just want someone to listen to this and go, what the fuck are they talking about? And then they watch it and go, about it.
I'm pretty.
All right, so let's get into, I'm going to let you, since, what do you want to give it? Because you liked it more than I did. So I think that should be the rule.
After our talk, I'm leaning a little bit more into a 4.5. I was coming in with a 4.
I would go in with a 4.
Do you agree with a 4?
I would go with a 4.
Okay. I'll settle with a 4. I won't fight for the 4.5.
Yeah. I can't really, I just don't think it's like, I think it's there because, because a 4 is a great.
Yeah.
A 5 is a perfect. Do I think it's like a great? No, I think it's great.
I think this is damn near close to Mad Max Fury Road for me.
What do we give that?
A 5.
You think?
For me, it is. Yeah. That's why I say 4.5. I think the only thing that really hurts this film is kind of the slow pacing at the beginning because I felt like it knows its identity. It knows what messages it's trying to say and abuse those messages in a huge way.
Okay. So, but why would you give it a 4.5 and not fight for a 5?
Because of a little bit of slow pacing at the beginning. And
so if it was just better pacing, you would have given it a 5?
Yeah.
All right. Then we can give it a 4.5. That's fine with me.
If you're okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Because you presented yourself with a good argument. You were just like, and I can't really think of an argument against it. So.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's what this is, Your Honor. Your Honor.
I do say I believe it should have a 4.5.
But yeah, I mean, it's like if you
I'm
really,
just a lonely Seattleite.
If you really think it needs or deserves a 4.5, that's fine because I can't think of an argument for it.
I will say, and also saying that I came in thinking I think I'm going to give it a 4, and after our conversation, made me want to raise it. Mm-hmm. It says something as well. I mean, where would have you you agree with a 4? Would if you wanted to give it a 4? Were you thinking more like a 3.5?
I was coming in with a 3.5,
yeah.
And then after the conversation, and then also putting myself more in the, I'm not the audience. I can be, and I can sit there and watch it, but it's not a story for me.
But it's a story that
I can ingest and understand, but it's, you know what I mean? So I have to put a little bit of buffer there in the sense of I don't fully understand because I am not a woman and not treated as a woman and not a woman in Hollywood and blah, 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 blah,
and
blah.
I will and on top, sorry, do you have bored with that? I don't want to interrupt you again.
So I was just going to go to 3.5, but then after that, I was like, I would go in with a 4.
Fair. So we both kind of moved up a little bit. And I will say this, it's interesting with you talking about not for you. And there's definitely some movies that we have watched recently where it's like, that's just not for us. And it's unfair that they didn't even attempt to make it to be for everyone. Is that this is very much, it's about...
Did we say that?
About the purple one? I'm just going to call it that. I don't want to say it 100%.
The purple one.
The mirrors, TV, glow.
Oh.
Jesus. Might as well just say it. God. Anywho, we didn't review that one. We were just talking about it. But this, it's very much, it is for, its target audience is more, in a feminist theory and for women, in a women experience. But it doesn't necessarily, it's targeted more in that way, but it's for everyone that likes film. It's a film made to see an interpretation of this.
Yeah.
Which is also, it's very successful. I didn't feel alienated with TV. I felt a little alienated.
Well, and if with that too, like
which also that's probably what they were meaning to do with that movie as well. So,
well, with that idea as well, it's like, because let's say you don't really understand the feminist themes and stuff behind it, but you really like body horror, you might just get a kick out of the body horror of it at the minimum.
Yeah.
And let's say you just don't pick up on themes very well. It's still very body.
I really
horror.
liked all the blood. Yeah, that's a representation of menstrual and all this stuff. Oh, what? Oh, I didn't get any of that.
That guy.
All right, so 4 or 5?
4.5, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, I can't. Usually I have
I had already forgotten that it was nominated for stuff at the Oscars. When we were talking about it, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I mean, and for me to enjoy it as much, because I don't know, everything that we watched last couple of weeks has been kind of good, but Saltburn wasn't 100% my thing. I mean, I really liked it, but I guess I started to like it more and more we talked about it. But
yeah, I mean, because we started off with Licorice Pizza.
That was wonderful,
and that was a 4.
Yeah,
that was a solid 4.
What was the second one we did? Oh, a White Noise.
White Noise. We gave it 3.
3?
Just a 3.
Just a 3. Fair.
Saltburn, we gave a 3.5.
And that was another weird satirical kind of absurdist one.
Yeah, but that was...
And I kind of liked that one a little bit more as well.
So we get our stars out.
Oh, yeah. Who we doing? Who we connecting?
Keira Knightley to Joe Pesci.
Keira Knightley to Joe Pesci. All right. Cool. Don't think about it, Jacob. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Stop thinking about it.
But yeah, so that was episode 230 of The Substance, which we ended up giving a 4.5 out of 5 carrots. Carrots are just stars. It's an inside joke from years ago that I wouldn't even know where to find that episode. Oh, shoot 'em up.
I was going to say, shoot 'em up.
Yep.
What's up, Doc?
It was an inside joke from when we reviewed Shoot 'em Up, and it stuck. Well, I kind of made it stick.
You 100% made it
I
stick.
was like, this is happening. Look at it! But yes, we don't know what we're doing next week, so please follow us on Instagram and Facebook for all the promos that will show what's coming up. On those is our link tree, and you can find out where we put all of the actual recordings, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, Apple, so on and so forth. Like, comment, and join us next week for whatever the hell we decide
Whatever
to do.
it is. It's going to be us talking.
Again, this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape.
See how I deconstructed it right there?
Look at it.